Ah, the original Game Boy. This classic system had puzzle games, RPGs, fighting games. Wait, yeah, there was some fighting games, of course. The Game Boy had a D-pad, and not just one, but 2 face buttons. You could use this thing to hammer your nails, and it even works underwater. Call the number on your screen now, but wait, the first 50 callers will receive a second Game Boy free, and wait, what the hell am I doing? Anyways, here's some fighting games on the Game Boy. Let's start with Killer Instinct. Originally an arcade game released in 1994, it came a year later to the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy. Unfortunately, here on the Game Boy, it's yep. The Game Boy version had some characters cut from the game, and the fighting moves were also changed from the other versions. The best part of the game, though, is the ability to perform combos. The music is also really good. I never really played Killer Instincts on the Super Nintendo or that arcade version, so I wasn't as familiar with this game as with Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I like the characters and the fighting moves in the game. The game does have multiplayer and even a practice/training where you can practice your moves. You'll need to practice to pull off those combos. Sure, this game doesn't look that good on the Game Boy, you might be thinking, but once you get the fighting moves down, the game is really fun. My favorite character has to be Saber Wolf. See this combo here? Bam! I'm telling y'all, once you get the button downs, they can't stop you in the game. Just string a few combos together and let her rip. Okay, so I had it on easy, but I can handle hard mode, no problem. Never mind. The franchise went to spawn sequels later on, and the Super Nintendo version was released on the NSO service earlier this year, which I recommend you take a look at. Mortal Kombat! Now this game doesn't need any introduction. The game released on everything, including the 32X. I had this game as a kid, and I can remember liking the game back then, and I can see why. First off, there's only one mode here, the classic arcade mode, where you go up the tower. The Game Boy version of the game only has 8 characters. Now, I know the Game Boy version isn't as good as the other versions, but it runs well, and the sprites don't look too bad. All the moves are here. The come here, Sub-Zero's freeze, the yeah bicycle kick. The game even features fatalities, a regular fatality, babality, and a stage fatality. Shang Tsung can transform into other characters for like 10 seconds. This is a decent port, and it scratches that Mortal Kombat itch. The final boss will show no mercy though. Luckily, I could just spam my Okay, what about some ice on the floor? Nothing works. It's impossible. Regular punches did the job. Now this is a game I played on the arcade cabinet, Street Fighter. Of course, the other 2 games were also released on arcade cabinets, but what I meant by Street Fighter is that I literally would see this game at every laundromat, mall restaurant, lobbies, etc. You know what I'm talking about. On the Game Boy here, the game looks good for the system, and the game, well, it's classic Street Fighter. Hadoukens, Blanka Shocks, the Sonic Boom. Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy had lower ratings than the other versions, but considering what this console could do, it's a decent port. With only 2 face buttons, you can only do so much. Also missing from the game are the character audio sound effects. See, there's no sound effect. There is, however, the classic music in the game, now converted to play on the Game Boy. It even has a music player in the menu if you want to just listen to the tunes. Can't go wrong with the Guile theme. Even with their flaws and cutbacks, these ports are decent enough if you want to play fighting games on the Game Boy, but that's just my opinion. Is somebody here? What was that? Somebody there?